It's already quiet, but we do this, so here we go. Okay. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Monroe City Council meeting. This is the regular study session for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. The time right now is 7 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and ask that Sherry please call the roll.
Council members present, establishing a quorum: Fulcher, Beaumont, Hanford, Walker, Fisher, and Scarborough.
Thank you. And I heard from Councilmember Gamble earlier this evening that he would not make it due to work-related reasons. So unless there is objection, we'll consider his absence as excused. And these mics are really hot tonight because look at how far away I am, and I can really hear my voice. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the first item on the agenda. That first item will be the Pledge of, Yes, that item will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. So Councilmember Walker, will you please lead us in the pledge? I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to move first to announcements and presentations this evening. And the proclamation for this evening is recognizing September 15th to October 15th, 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month. So I'm going to go ahead and read this into the record, and I do thank everybody who's here this evening to receive this. So whereas in 1988, the United States Congress adopted a resolution designating September 15 to October 15 of each year as National Hispanic Heritage Month. And during National Hispanic Heritage Month, the United States celebrates the culture and traditions of Spanish-speaking residents who trace their roots to Spain, Portugal, Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. And whereas residents of Monroe who identify as Hispanic or Latino represent 19% of Monroe's residents, and people who identify as Hispanic or Latino are people whose ancestors have lived in the Americas, including the lands within today's United States for over 500 years. And whereas Hispanic people continue to be integral to the prosperity of the United States, and Monroe's Hispanic community has had and continues to have a profound influence on our city and country by embracing and shaping our national heritage with centuries-old traditions that reflect multi-ethnic and multicultural customs. And whereas Imagine Monroe aspires that Monroe is a safe place for everyone, where everyone feels at home and everyone feels they belong. And as part of realizing Imagine Monroe, the City of Monroe recognizes and honors the diverse backgrounds and lived experiences of all residents of our community. And whereas the National Council of Hispanic Employment Program Managers theme for 2024 is Hispanic Heritage Month observance is Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey Thomas, Mayor of the City of Monroe, Washington, do hereby recognize September 15 to October 15, 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month and call upon all residents in our community to learn more about the rich Hispanic culture, traditions, and history and celebrate the contributions that have been made to our country and to our community, the people of Hispanic heritage. I ask that Mariana come forward.
Reconocimiento del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre del 2024 como el mes de la herencia hispana. Considerando que en 1988 el Congreso de Estados Unidos adoptó una resolución designada el 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre de cada año como el mes nacional de la herencia hispana, y que durante el mes nacional de la herencia hispana, Estados Unidos celebra la cultura y las tradiciones de los residentes que hablan español y que tienen sus raíces en España, Portugal, México, Centroamérica, Sudamérica y el Caribe. Y considerando que los residentes de Monroe, que se identifican como hispanos y latinos, representan el 19 de los residentes de Monroe, y que las personas que se identifican como hispanos o latinos son personas cuyos ancestros han vivido en las Américas, incluyendo los territorios que hoy forman parte de Estados Unidos por más de 500 años. Y considerando que las personas hispanas siguen siendo integrales para la prosperidad de Estados Unidos y la comunidad hispana de Monroe ha tenido y sigue teniendo una profunda influencia en nuestra ciudad y en nuestro país al realzar y dar forma a nuestro legado nacional con siglos de tradiciones que reflejan las costumbres multiétnicas y multiculturales. Y considerando que Imagina a Monroe, aspira a que Monroe sea un lugar seguro para que todos, en el que todos se sientan como en casa y tengan un sentido de pertenencia. Y como parte de la realización de Imagina a Monroe, la ciudad de Monroe reconoce y honra los diversos orígenes étnicos y experiencias vividas por todos los residentes de nuestra comunidad. Y considerando que el tema del Consejo Nacional de Gerentes del Programa de Empleo Hispano para la observancia del Mes de la Herencia Hispana del 2024 es Pioneros del Cambio, donde forma parte del futuro juntos. Por cuanto yo, el alcalde, Geoffrey Thomas, alcalde de la ciudad de Monroe, de Washington, por este medio reconoce el 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre de 2024 como el Mes de la Herencia Hispana. Y él convoca a todos los residentes de nuestra comunidad a aprender más sobre la rica cultura hispana, sus tradiciones e historia, y celebrar las contribuciones hechas a nuestro país y a nuestra comunidad por las personas de herencia hispana.
Thank you very much, Mariana. And I'm going to invite you to just introduce who's here today.
So I want to welcome the Latino Student Union from Monroe High School. Quiero invitar a Latino Student Union de Monroe High School que ha venido aquí a recibir la proclamación con Brenda Rentería. So would you like to sit up?
And so if council will allow me to, what I'd like to do is we have a number of people who have signed up to speak this evening specific to this proclamation. With your permission, I'd like to go ahead and have them speak at the podium now rather than take them during public comment. Is there any objection to me making that adjustment? Okay, so what I just did there was if you signed up to speak on here or have some words you'd like to say, please go ahead and step up to the mic and say your name. And I'll do my best to make certain I get everybody on the list, and like that, you can speak now on the proclamation.
Okay. I'm going to introduce myself first, and then I can talk.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brenda Renteria. I'm the Career Center Specialist at Monroe High School, and I'm also the Latino Student Union advisor. We're so happy to be here tonight representing our school and our community, and I do have 3 students that would like to share some words with you in Spanish and English. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Aretzi, Yair, and Brian. Thank you again.
Thank you.
My name is Aretzi, and I'd like to say a couple of words to you. Thank you, Mayor Thomas. We're so honored to be here to represent the Hispanic community in Monroe. Before we begin, the current Latino Student Union would like to recognize those who came before us, the group of students who had the courage and dedication to get this club off the ground. Without them and the support of the community, we wouldn't be here today.
Thank you.
The purpose of Hispanic Heritage Month is to recognize the impacts the Hispanic community has made in every aspect of American life, and to honor the diverse background of the 21 Spanish-speaking countries.
I have a couple of words for the Hispanic community. It says, esta proclamación no es solo para reconocer nuestro trabajo, sino para reconocer los sacrificios y el esfuerzo que nuestra comunidad ha hecho para darnos las mejores oportunidades. Gracias a ustedes podemos estar aquí enfrente de ellos y darle reconocimiento a nuestra comunidad.
Gracias. Is there anybody else who has signed up on this sheet to speak tonight that would like to speak on the proclamation? Okay.
¿Hay alguien más, un padre de familia que quiere hablar o decir algo? Ahorita es el momento.
Okay. So do that right now. Yes, so the council and I are going to come on up here, and one thing is that I don't have the fancy proclamation this evening. We will make certain that we get that to your class tomorrow, both in English and in Spanish. I'll go ahead and meet you up here and take a picture if that's okay. Mariana, you're going to be up here too. So let's do this, everybody. So go ahead. I'm gonna stand here. There's one right here. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll go ahead and move on with the balance of the agenda then. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Yeah. Thank you. So I have a number of people who have signed in to speak, and I think a number of them have left. What I'll do is I'm going to call the names up on the top because I think those are the folks that have come to speak that have not already left the room. And if I do not call your name at the end, I'll go ahead and I'll do one more call and you can raise your hand and say, wait, me too. Just because I missed somebody, we will come back to you. So with all that said, seeing that there are people who would like to speak, I do have a script that our attorney likes me to read into the record. So I apologize for the words that I have to say. So the next item on the agenda is public comment. This is a limited opportunity for people to speak to the council during this council meeting. Pursuant to the rules of procedure, oral public comment is limited to in-person comment only and must comply with the standards set forth in the council rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Information on where to send written comments is on tonight's agenda and on the screen. Yep, right up there. Okay. We will now begin public comment. Please state your name, area of residence, or association with the city and topic. And then what we'll do is we'll start the timer, which we'll put up on the screen a little bit higher so that you can see it. We're going to go ahead and start with Chris. Sorry, I don't have my reading glasses here. Chris Von Joan?
Oh, it's Von Joanne.
Von Joanne.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yes, my name is Chris Von Joanne. I'm a resident here in Monroe. I live on South Madison Street. So I'd like to thank you, Mayor Thomas, members of the council. So I'm here to discuss the potential ban on the discharge of fireworks within the city limits of Monroe and to voice my opposition to any such ban taking place. As a parent to two children who attend currently the Monroe Christian School here on Main Street, I had the opportunity and the pleasure of being in charge of operating the Monroe Christian School fireworks stand for the 2024 July 4th holiday season as a fundraiser for our school. The tent that we were doing our sales out of was located in the Pursuit Fitness parking lot up on Chain Lake Road. This is the second year that the Monroe Christian School has operated a fireworks stand from this location, and this operation is manned 100% by the parents and the students of Monroe Christian School, with the location being donated by the owners of the gym. In the first year of operation, Monroe Christian School brought in just over $40,000 of sales. In our second year of operation, we brought in just under $80,000. With plans to run the fireworks stand for the 2025 season, and with the recently announced Snohomish County Council amendment barring the selling of fireworks in locations in which the discharge of fireworks was already banned, we foresee potential sales in excess of $120,000 for the 2025 year. With the need to improve and expand our school, it's up to the members of the school to be able to see the funds come in. One such improvement for our school is an expansion needed to house our ever-growing student body population. During the 2019-2020 school year, we had over 98 students in our school. But currently this year, we have over 300 students. So we need room to grow and we need room to expand, but we need money to do that. Not only does the fireworks stand help to bring in this necessary financial support for our school, the city also receives a percentage of the proceeds from our fireworks stand, therefore contributing to the cleanup and the repair after the 4th of July holiday season. Let's be honest, the complete ban on fireworks within Monroe city limits will not eliminate fireworks from being discharged. Approximately 30 minutes up Highway 2 in Everett is Boom City, a fireworks stand on the Tulalip Indian Reservation, which falls under different regulations. It includes the selling of fireworks which are deemed illegal within Monroe city limits. Even with the complete ban on fireworks in Monroe, this will not keep Boom City from selling their fireworks and from those fireworks from coming into Monroe and being discharged. The cities of Woodinville and Bothell already have complete bans of fireworks within their city limits, but if you walk down any city street in those cities, including my parents' own neighborhood, you will find numerous families continuing the tradition of lighting off fireworks on the 4th of July. So bans in these cities has not kept fireworks from being discharged. Not only will the blanket ban on fireworks not keep fireworks from being discharged, but could be harmful to the community as a whole, limiting groups like the Monroe Christian School, as well as other foundations, from being able to fundraise for their organization. But this ban will also remove a source of income from the city, which will help to pay for the cleanup, repair, and for
Chris,
first responders.
I'm sorry, you're at the end of your minutes.
Absolutely.
You can certainly email in the balance of your comments if you like.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you, Chris. Next person who signed up to speak is April Havener. Good evening. You can pull the perfect.
Yes, I'm not as tall as Chris.
Or you can take it off the mic, which other people have
it's
done
fine.
tonight too.
Hello, my name is April Havener, and I live in Monroe off North High Rock Road, which was made famous recently by our close encounter with a cougar. I'm also a parent to two children at Monroe Christian School, and back in December, a group of MCS parents and staff spoke to you guys about the dangers of Main Street and to the pedestrians and the children. And I just wanted to come and say thank you so much for your response. Thank you to the Monroe Police Department for the response. And I just want to let you know how wonderful the new flashing crosswalks are. They've already made such an impact, I think. And I've been able to cross safely multiple times. So thank you so much for that. And I also just wanted to echo what Chris had said about keeping the fireworks legal in Monroe. Our fireworks stand is a great fundraiser for our school and has a potential of being even more impactful to our school next year. And I just hope that all the local charities and nonprofits are able to keep selling fireworks in Monroe. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Connie Goss, how are you? Good.
Good evening. My name is Craig Burkett. I live north of Monroe, and I'm president of the Monroe Arts Council, and I'm here with
Connie Goss. I live just outside of Monroe, and I'm the vice president of finance for the Monroe Arts Council. And we are here tonight just to thank the city. We just received our final reimbursement check from the American Rescue Plan grant we were awarded in 2022. And we have just completed phase 1 of the reconstruction project of the restrooms and lobby of the Wagner Performing Arts Center. It's not beautiful yet. It's still quite rough. This was the framing phase. We have a lot more work to do, and we are busily seeking funds for the rest of the job, but we really appreciate all the support we've had from the city, from the mayor's office, from Deborah, from building and permits and finance, and everybody has been really supportive and very patient with us, I might add. And we're very sorry if we had anything to do with Greg Byland leaving. We didn't mean to drive him away.
Well, thank you very much, Connie. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's where my agenda went. Here, Deborah, you can have your agenda back. All right, other public comments. So I think I'm at the end of the list of people that signed up to speak. Now, with that said, if you're here to speak tonight, please go ahead and raise your hand. You can still come forward. Okay, and I'm looking at people and they're not coming forward. So, all right, cool. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate you coming forward this evening and providing those comments for the council to consider. All right, the next item on the agenda is a discussion item. This is item 6.1, Law Enforcement Embedded Social Worker Program. And I'm going to invite Deputy Chief Irving forward. Yes? Yes, sir.
I brought backup. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'm just going to say a couple brief comments before we get going. This is actually the Brain Trust and the A-team over here to my left, which would be your right. Thank you very much. We're here tonight to talk about the Law Enforcement Embedded Social Worker Program. I just wanted to note that when I arrived here in late 2018, this program had already been in existence since the year prior. I believe 2017 was the year that Deputy Chief Irving was the test pilot for this, at that time a sergeant, and he took this program from its initial start in conjunction with the county embedded social worker program. And Elise, were you part of that also at the time? So she's also been here from the beginning and just formed this into a phenomenal partnership that I found to be a gem and not prevalent in other areas or jurisdictions. So we're very fortunate that this program can directly support Monroe's vision of a safe and inclusive community and provide people options and guide them towards treatment, but it also has a strong accountability point to it that allows us to hold people's feet to the fire and make sure that we're doing the right thing with accountability in mind. As I mentioned, Ryan Irving's been there from the start, so he's the subject matter expert that will speak to you. Also, Angie is the person who runs and coordinates this program for the county. I'll let them do their introductions. But we have a team that has a documented history of success and results, and hopefully we can answer the questions that have been laid out for us tonight and overcome. We had a little miscommunication on the last time we met. I believe that was on June 11th, and hopefully we'll be able to rectify any questions you may have. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Deputy Chief. I'll get out of your way.
So although the chief gives me credit, the program's only gotten better since I left and turned it over to capable hands. I think he kind of mentioned Elisa Delgado, who's been the social worker from the beginning that stuck with us through all this. So I will say that we are one of the oldest programs and the most consistent, as we have applied a consistent delivery of services since the beginning. This is Angie Jorstad. You are the supervisor of the Scout program, which oversees the social workers. So these folks in the audience, along with our community outreach officer, Officer Winfrey in there, are really the subject matter experts. I'm just the figurehead up here. So when I run out of steam, you can ask them questions if that sounds good to you. So this is a discussion topic, as the chief mentioned, that started in 2017. When out of necessity, we realized that we were running around our community dealing with these livability and homelessness issues and didn't really have any resources to deal with them. We were pushing the problem throughout the city, but didn't have the services to offer folks, and recognized the increasing substance abuse issues. Thanks, Jerry. We needed some options. And so the council and the mayor in 2017 decided to contract with Snohomish County Human Services to bring on Elisa as a part-time social worker with our department. It's been very successful since then. And so this program currently is under the Human Services budget. In 2025, 2026, we're going to bring it back into the police department. Budget is the plan for that, just because we work with them day in, day out. It makes sense for us to do that. And that comes at a cost of $126,481 each year annually. And that covers the social worker salaries, benefits, supplies, housing vouchers, and such. And so we did our due diligence, and we went out and compared it to other programs in Snohomish County to see what other options were available for us. That's a responsible thing to do. We can look at our partner agency in Arlington. They also employ with Snohomish County Human Services at a cost of $220,000 a year for a full-time social worker program. We can look at Lake Stevens. They have a program. They don't have a social worker that works with their officers. They utilize the LEAD program, which is Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. It's a little bit different in our program. Our program is very proactive, is that we're constantly partnering with an officer, and we're actively going out in the community and addressing these issues. LEAD is a program where you would call the social worker to respond to your scene. They would, if the officer had a case, they could shelve that case, get them some case management from the lead worker. And if I'm incorrect, please correct me. They can give them those services, and whether or not they fulfill those requirements or not, they can decide to either not move forward the charge or not. That's quite redundant in our system, in the fact that we already have a therapeutic court in Monroe, so we have those options. We work very well with our court system, and that Elisa and Garrett, Officer Winfrey, can facilitate temporary release orders through our own court system, where if we have folks that we go out and contact and facilitate charges, that we can get a release directly from the jail and take them to treatment until they meet their obligation and either go back to jail or back out into a clean and sober housing. So we have a really good wraparound services program. When you look at departments like Marysville, they employ their own social worker and case manager. That comes at a cost of about $405,000 a year. We did have a conversation with them, and they told us basically, if you have a program that works, you should stick with that. At the time we had this conversation earlier this year, they did not have a social worker employed. And I'm sure you all can understand the challenging work environment that we're in, finding qualified people to maintain employment and keep with those specialty services that they can offer. Linwood, Edmonds, Montlake Terrace, they were all agencies that had previously partnered with Compass Health. Due to cutbacks, they're now partnering with Snohomish County on a pilot program, the same program that we're utilizing. So what we've seen is that we're in a best practice as far as providing these services to our community, and we're very proud of the services that we provide. Our program is based off compassion, resources, and accountability. And that's very important, because when you look at the tangible and intangible effects, we know that in 2021 to 2023, we had 176 clients that we actively engaged in the community with, that we sat down with and provided either services or got them to some pathway. That's not to say that they were all successful in following through with assessments, treatments, housing, clean and sober, but we actively formed bonds with them. And I think that's very important. That's an intangible, that we're forming these bonds with these people who we might meet in crisis later, and that could reduce the possibility of endangering an encounter or causing use of force issues. So those are some of the intangible things. As you've seen in the media that's been around the nation, is that we have intangibles, as well as you see these court cases that go from state and federal level, where they're being challenged on enforcement of these provisions that are targeting homeless issues. What we've seen is when you take on a three-prong approach like we had, it minimizes the risk to the city, because we're essentially providing these people with resources and housing, so that when we do have to take that accountability piece, which is very important, that we are creating a barrier to say that we've offered these people services before we've gotten to that accountability piece in our program. With that being said, I think there's a number of questions you may or may not have. I'm going to stop talking and ask if you have anything further.
All right, thank you. So far on what has been presented, does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, and I'm going to be
You see
way
what I
back
mean
there.
about those
I do,
microphones tonight?
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I just had a question about, Chief Jolly was saying since 2018, this program has been in place, correct?
2017.
2017.
We started researching in 2016,
Okay.
2017.
So I was just looking at the community outreach team report, and this looks like, of course, last year's numbers, and I'm just trying to determine what I'm looking at. It looks like, if my math is correct, we had over 100 cases, correct? Or situations where we contacted individuals that needed help. Is that accurate?
I'm looking at a 2023 December report. I think that when this report was generated, we had 64 year-to-date where we actively engaged in individuals.
Okay.
Those are individuals that we sat down with. That does not count individuals that we encountered on the street, had a conversation with them. These are folks that we actually sat down with and said, okay, here's what we can do and here's where we can go from here.
Gotcha. So what have you seen since 2017? I'm just curious if are those numbers going up? What are you seeing?
I think they're staying somewhat consistent. Obviously, we know that when there was some legislation changes involving substance abuse, that we saw a rise in the amount of people that were becoming unsheltered or struggling with substance abuse disorders. So as our program is largely based around providing treatment to those folks that are experiencing substance abuse, we found more opportunities for interaction with these folks.
Great.
And engaging.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Other questions on the co-responder program and what the deputy chief has presented so far? Okay. Do you have anything further to present this evening?
I don't think so. Angie, do you have anything
Angie?
you'd like to add?
I can just introduce myself and just talk in general. I have supervised the program. I've worked with Snohomish County for the last 11 years. I've supervised this program since its inception in 2015. And it's gone through a lot of evolution during that time. This is a population that whose needs change over time. And we had this little thing called a global pandemic that definitely impacted this population. But we've gone from a team of 1.5 FTEs to 9 FTEs today. Along with the city of Monroe, we have formal agreements with the cities of Arlington, with community transit, and now with Linwood and Mount Lake Terrace through the end of the year, hopefully moving forward. It's changed over time, and we're a pretty nimble group. We've been able to secure the resources that we need to continue to address the issues that arise in different communities. Every city in Snohomish County is really different, and so we really appreciate the opportunity to work with cities and find out really what are your needs, to kind of morph what we provide based on what cities need and make sure that we're continuing to be an asset to your community. And so that's our goal. We oversee the contract with the cities, but we also contract with our diversion center and Carnegie Resource Center out of our office. And so we manage that resource as well. I'm happy to answer any questions about the program or about any other resources that are connected to this program for Snohomish County.
Thank you. Councilmember Fulcher and then Councilmember Fisher.
Angie,
Yes.
good to see you.
Good to see you.
I think that some of the questions that we had last time and the reason why you are now with us, they're kind of coming back to me. Two major questions that we had, and one of them, so as we're looking at how the other cities have the same kind of programs and then what they pay for them, by the way, we are thrilled to be in at the very beginning of the 1.5 people, it's kind of a point of pride for us.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we look at Arlington PD and they've got $220,000 they're spending annually for a full-time social worker. Now, we love our social worker, but we only get her 2 days a week. And so if you do the math, Arlington's paying about $44,000 a day, just follow my math on this, on the calendar. And we're paying about $63,000 a day. So that's why we were asking questions last time. And our other questions were, do we still have access to the diversion center with or without? Those were our keys. We're paying more per day of fun or per day of work. We appreciate that. Yeah. But we also need to know, why are we paying so much more? And what are we getting? What is the bang for our buck?
Yeah, happy to answer those questions. So, all of our team, all of our social services workers work 4/10s. So you're paying for 2 days a week. Arlington's paying for 4 days a week. And I think their budget number is closer to 240. It should be closer to half of what you're paying, but let me go back and double check those numbers. Because you're getting half of what they're getting. So it should be about 50%. So let me double check that. To answer, and right now Monroe is the only 0.5 arrangement that we have. All of our other ILAs are for FTEs, and so those numbers should all be the same. The numbers based on salary and benefits and the indirect costs that come with doing business with the county, unfortunately. A portion of our housing costs and a portion of flex funds. As I'm speaking, one difference might be our social services workers are at different levels of experience. Elisa obviously has been here. She's our senior member of the team, and so she's going to be, her salary and benefits are going to be higher than, say, someone that's hired at a step one. That could account for some of the difference, but again, I'll make sure you get that information back.
Understanding the 4/10s helps a lot.
Good.
So, I mean, because
Yeah.
I'm a business person, I
Yeah.
can do math. Yeah. So
Great.
thank you for that further information.
Of course,
I
yeah, the
appreciate
diversion center question is a good one. There's a separate interlocal agreement for any entity in Snohomish County, any municipality who has an embedded social worker within their law enforcement program has access to the diversion center through this interlocal agreement. And so the Tulalip tribes, for instance, they have their own embedded social work program. They have access to the diversion center. The cities of Marysville and Everett, they have their own programs. They sign the same interlocal agreement. So any city, any jurisdiction that chooses to have their own law enforcement embedded social services professional could enter into that agreement with the diversion center with the county and still have access.
So what you're saying is our participation in this program is what gives us our ticket into the diversion center interaction.
Correct. But it doesn't have to be a county interlocal, it doesn't have to be a county social worker. It could be a city social worker or a different, when Linwood and Mount Lake Terrace were contracting with Compass Health, they also still had access to the diversion center because they had an embedded social services person.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Fisher, go ahead.
Yes. Hi. First, Alyssa, I want to thank you for your dedication to our community. I'm sitting there in the back row trying to act like you're not here, but I can see you. And then also, Angie, thank you for coming here tonight. Councilmember Fulcher pretty much stole all my thunder. So she was asking about budget stuff. But this is a great program. It is something that I am proud of. I think the rest of the council is also proud of to have in our community, and we think that it helps. And then just for the record, these mics are a little hot. I now want that to be my MC name, Hot Mic. So there we have it.
Thank you. Councilmember Scarborough, I saw you were leaning in at one point. No. Anybody else? Go ahead, Councilmember Hanford. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I remember when this started way back and we were contemplating and researching it. And like you said, this is definitely something that I look back and think, I'm so glad that we made that decision and that we were able to trailblaze this. And it's so neat to hear. We've talked about this before, but when you go to different city events where there's different council members and mayors from other cities, and they're talking about maybe we should get an embedded social worker program, and it's nice to sit there and think that, yeah, we've been doing this for years and it's successful. And we're addressing, even though it's 2 days a week at this point, we're addressing and doing what we can to help those people on the streets get the help that they need, the ones that will accept it. So thank you, all of you, for what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
We've also really appreciated this partnership with the city of Monroe. It has been very steady. It has been very consistent, and we continue to see folks that maybe we couldn't help in 2022 or 2023 that we're helping in 2024 because we're steady, because Elisa is well-known in the city and someone that folks can trust to provide services when they're ready. So thank you for your support.
Go ahead, Councilmember Walker. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, you want to sit back in the other zip code.
Good call. Thank you guys very much for coming out. Thank you for the presentation and putting together so much information. Lisa, I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting in person. Maybe we have, and I'm sorry if we have. I've got a terrible memory, but I just wanted to add that all these benefits that the city considers providing or does provide, a huge part of it is going to be buy-in from the individuals that we're trying to help. And though we haven't met one-on-one, I've spoken with a lot of our homeless individuals in Monroe, and your name comes up every time, and it comes up in a way that reveals the hope that you give them. Not only is there an aspect of they feel like they have someone that they can talk to, they have someone who makes them feel accountable. And I just think that it has truly been a gift for Monroe to be able to have you here with us doing the work that you're doing, and thank you for the program itself as well. Really appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, so I have really appreciated this program. Deputy Chief, I don't know what you were before, but you came to me and said, I got this idea, and Sergeant, yeah, he said he's got this idea. They're doing this in Everett. We were the second city in the county to do this, and I really appreciated the partnership with the county. One of the things I have appreciated and about the relationship is that people who are unhoused have no borders. They don't see the city limits. They don't, stop at the city limits. And the nice thing about Elisa is that she's able to go and handle cases that just cross the border. And that's something that I've appreciated. So you're able to stay in contact with people. And I really, really appreciate that. I think that for Monroe and for this community, the Sky River community, it's been a positive to have her out here. So if you could just share that with the folks in Human Services, I would appreciate that.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah. I think the reason why this is before you today is not a lack of seeing value in the program. I think it was just trying to understand the numbers, the finances. And we would love to have her more, but that's a good thing, because that means that we appreciate the work that she's doing. After bringing on the co-responder model, we've been able to branch out into other areas. And as the deputy chief pointed out, even with Supreme Court cases making the decisions they have, like with Grants Pass, there's still sort of requirements embedded in the way the case law is that we should be doing things to mitigate. And I know law enforcement is taught to de-escalate, to find other options rather than just to lock people up. And that's something that I don't think that we all realize, is that here in the state of Washington, we're taught to de-escalate. The officers in our state are taught to be guardians and not warriors. And there's a distinct difference in how you educate and how you approach law enforcement and everything when you're like that. So in this state, they're very much into de-escalating situations and trying to make certain that everybody makes it home safe at night. Of course, sometimes you have to go to jail. Sometimes bad stuff happens, but the goal is to mitigate and make certain that everybody goes home safe at the end of the night. And that's something I appreciate. And with this program, we take steps toward that. And with what Roger's doing and with what Rachel's doing, it all builds into that system. It's not how I was raised with what law enforcement does in Virginia, but I think this is a better way. And I think over time, if we can stop recidivism, which means going out and arresting again and again the same people, and we can help break that cycle, get families back together, we're doing really important things here. So Deputy Chief, thank you for bringing that to me. Council, thank you for supporting it. And thank you for asking questions about it, because I'm not going to be here in a year and a half. And I want you to ask the questions. I want you to feel comfortable with it. And at the end of the day, if you decide to do something different, we'll do something different. But I do want you to make educated decisions based on looking at the facts and understanding what's good for our community and people in our community. So I thank you for asking these questions tonight. Okay, and I'm going to ask, I know your last name's Delgado. You don't go by Officer Delgado, right? Can you come up here, please? I've thanked you a lot in the past, I haven't done one thing, and you've been with us for a while, and I'm going to take this moment to thank you.
Lisa loves the attention.
You don't have to say anything, but you did sit down, so would you like to say a few words? And again, thank you so much.
Thank you. I love social speaking, so thank you. This position has been amazing. When I first came into this job, this was what I did. I came to Monroe. I had no idea what I was doing. Neither did Deputy Chief over here, but we figured it out. We have built a lot of relationships with many different people. I feel like this service is invaluable. I still get calls from people I helped 7 years ago. They let me know how they're doing. They refer people, but also it's a safe place for people who may have a relapse. They feel safe to reach out again. We continue moving forward. So thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. All right, if there are no other questions or anything, I thank you, Council, for asking the questions, and I thank you all for coming this evening and sharing this really important program with us. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to council member reports, and I'm going to start off with Councilmember Scarborough.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
I just want to thank everyone that came this evening and shared their public comments. Their thanks for the grants, their thanks for the flashing lights. It's nice to be thanked. And as I said before, it's nice when we oversee these grants and the recipients come back and thank us. That makes us, in my mind, that makes me want to say, let's try and direct more funding their way, because they're thankful for it and they come back and acknowledge that. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hanford. Councilmember Fisher.
It's a good night. Yes, so I feel the same way. As Councilmember Hanford said, we've been taking a lot of heat on social media lately. Oh my gosh. A lot of it is pretty funny and crazy. Some of it is not. And then last week I was on Zoom. I voted no on the hotel voucher thing. I hate Zoom, so I don't usually get on there and talk a lot because I think we just miss so much stuff. So I kind of wanted to explain that a little bit. I felt like when we got into that program with the county funds the first 6 months, I think my quote words were something like, I'll try anything for 6 months, see if it works. And then there were some certain stipulations that I really wanted to have changed or worked out. And I felt like that whole process went backwards instead of forwards. So that is the reason why I voted no on that. We just had some people in front of us tonight talking about how good these programs are. We have a couple of great human beings back there that make our program work. And I want to, once again, keep that with us and not with the state guiding us as much. So if that hopefully does make a little bit of sense, I think we could a lot of us could probably come to a consensus that the way we are handling drug addiction and homelessness within our state is horrible, and the way we are handling it within our city limits is actually pretty wonderful. So I want to stay in control of that. So that was my reasoning behind voting no on that. It wasn't because I don't care about those people. It was a tough one for me to vote no on because I have voted yes on every single one of those action items that has come across our desks up here, including being part of the Homeless Policy Advisory Committee and putting those things in place, voting for those things in place. So it was a tough no for me, but I have to have the pride that we have for our city, that I have for our city in solving this problem. And my confidence is not in the state. It's within our community, our tireless city staff, our tireless volunteers. So that kind of explains kind of how I was feeling about that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you. Gosh, I don't have much other than I attended the French Creek Flood District meeting Thursday with Mr. Otto from the city, and we approved a budget, and high school sports are in full swing, coaching high school cross country this fall, and there's the first home football game on Friday. So I encourage everyone to come out and support high school athletics, middle school athletics, and all athletics in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Walker.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Ed. Councilmember Fulcher.
It's fun to have two Eds here tonight. Last week, I neglected to report that I had attended Poverty 101 put on by Everett Gospel Mission and City of Monroe on September 7th. It was actually really great. Gave me a lot to think about, a lot to incorporate even into my daily civilian life, but also how I think about policy here at the city as well. Which kind of leads to something else I'd like to say. Last week, when we voted on the motel voucher program, it seems like the week before, we had all had questions. And when given that opportunity last week, we didn't really take it. I think maybe Jake might have asked one question, but I felt like we missed an opportunity as a council to ask those questions that we had had previously. I don't know about you guys, but I am still not fully settled on how our acceptance of that contract. The one thing that gets my attention is exactly what Kyle said tonight. That one of our council members who did vote on this then said no. And he's really very accepting of a lot of good ideas. He'll come alongside it until it proves itself wrong, and then he reluctantly had to say no. So that gives me pause. I know that you can just call it voter's remorse, but I would thank you very much for keeping us up to date on how that program is going to go, because I am going to be watching it with a critical eye. I want to hear good news. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is being proven wrong, and I just got a little shaky on it. But anyway, that is what my beef about that. But on an ending note, on the way over here, I happened to drive past Blueberry Children's Park, and oh my goodness, there were like 25 people in there, a bunch of families having fun, sitting around, talking as neighbors, and I thought, that's awesome. That's what we wanted to see at that park. So good job.
Thank you.
There, Mike's here. He could say, good job.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to Mayor and Administrator report. We'll start off with the City Administrator report, extended agenda. Administrator Knight.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Looking forward on to our extended agenda for Tuesday, September 24th. I've got you, Jerry. You've been doing great work tonight, by the way. Looking forward on our extended agenda for September 24th, we will not have a P3 committee meeting this month. For the regular business meeting, we will have a public hearing on Ordinance 006, 2024 for traffic cameras. That's a public hearing and second reading. Under the consent agenda, we have the regular accounts payable, meeting minutes, and payroll. Under new business, we will have the revenue estimates for the 2025-2026 budget with Greg Thramer, and then finally the regular department reports. The next meeting in October, we have October 1st. That will be a study session. There will be a public safety committee meeting that evening. We have a number of items that are listed. I'm sure that one or more of them will be amended and pushed off to a future meeting, probably in November or December. For the regular study session, we will have the 2044 comprehensive plan draft document with Kate Turtolo and Lance Bailey. That's a big deal. That's 2.5 years worth of work coming forward to council for action. And then the downtown commercial code amendments with Amy Wright.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Was there a transportation benefit district meeting that was going to be held and that got switched? or-
Yes, it did, as a matter of fact, and that is in part because the Public Works Department won't have the final invoices from our vendors until November. So that actually has been moved out till November. We'll update the calendar in the future because
Sure.
it was also listed last year early, and we don't have all the numbers that we need in order to finalize that budget.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. City Administrator's report.
Great. So just wanted to give the council an update on where we're at with our education and outreach on the Proposition 1, the Parks and Public Safety Levy. So we have been meeting and speaking with board and commission members and community groups. That was in August. We will be doing a presentation tomorrow to the Rotary Club and to the YMCA. We have a utility bill insert that is going to, that got mailed out on September 3rd, and then a postcard mailer that will go to all the addresses in the city limits, and that is set to drop on October 7th. The voter pamphlet and the ballots will be delivered on October 23rd. So just wanted to provide you with an update on where we're at. If you do know of any service groups or any others, homeowners association, neighborhood gatherings, we're happy to come out and explain to people what Proposition 1 is all about and provide them with that information. On the kudos, we did get a kudos regarding the entrance to Monroe from the west. One of our regular residents noted that the flowers look great, and a tip of the hat to our park staff. And then, as was mentioned earlier this evening, the newly updated Blueberry Lane Park is really just getting a lot of love right now. Lots of people have been writing in and expressing their thanks for all the work that went into that park.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the administrator's report? You almost became council members' report. Okay, sounds good. So for me, just a few highlights. One, municipal campus. If you haven't been down Main Street lately, I recommend driving down Main Street. I went down Main Street earlier today on my way to drop off my dry cleaning, and it's great seeing how much work has gone into that site. And so I recommend just driving by and taking a look at it at some point in time. Again, I thank all of you. I thank each of you for your support and your votes to help make that happen. It's something that we were talking about when I was on council a long time ago in a galaxy far away, and I'm sure they were talking about it before I was there. So, thank you, and please drive by and take a look at it. Also, I've been working a lot on the budget. So one of the things you'll find is that when numbers are first put into the budget, things don't always look great, and then you start going through the Excel spreadsheet and find little errors here and there, and then things begin to look better. And so things are going well with the budget right now, looking at what sort of additional things we might be able to do over the next couple of years. And I'm optimistic and excited to be in a place where we'll be bringing forward a budget here in the next couple of weeks that I think you'll be pleased with. But at the end of the day, I'll respect whatever it is you all want to do with it. But I am appreciating all the work that the staff is doing on it, and I'm looking forward to this budget cycle. And then I am interviewing for CHSAB. I don't know if folks heard, but one of our former CHSAB members passed away, Jim Bloss. And he's somebody that I had known for some time, and I'm going to miss having him here in our community. We are in the process of interviewing for somebody to be in that position. I did interview somebody this evening, and we're working on getting one more interview in. And I'm very pleased with the candidates so far that I've interviewed for the position. And then on the social media, actually, we'll wait on that one. The program that we were talking about earlier that Councilmembers Fisher and Fulcher brought up, just like we did with the co-responder program, we're going to watch these. We're going to learn from them. And to Councilmember Fisher's point, yeah, I mean, the state is not 100% on everything, and that's an understatement. You've seen how I act with the county, right? It's about doing what's right for Monroe. And I even talked about that last week with the drug money, the settlement money. When I was called to the table and asked, how we were going to give our 30 grand per year over to the county so that they could, at that point in time, do some sort of educational outreach that I interpreted as trifolds. I'm sure it's something more. So, but with that said, I wanted to keep the money here. I wanted to be able to manage that money for our purposes within our programs to help people who are here. And the council's doing what's right with that. We're still doing what's legally required with it. And also we're doing what's right for our community. And that's one of the things with this program is that the money's coming to us. And yeah, it's coming from the state, going to the county, and then coming to us. And there are parameters around it. At the end of the day, the program needs to be what's right for our community. And so the nice thing is that this is not the county doing work in our city. It's the county involving us in the decision-making and the implementation of the program. And if it doesn't work for us, council, you have the ability to pull the plug. And if I see something that makes me uncomfortable, I'll highlight it to the council and just let you know, hey, I don't like the way this is working, and we'll see what we can do within the parameters of the contract to make adjustments. Because I do think that if it fails once or twice, it's doing really well, percentage-wise, the other 98% of the time. And what can we do to tweak the program so that we're not having that 2% make the program bad for the families that are actually benefiting from this? I don't know about you, but I don't get as many phone calls about people camping at the library that I used to. And part of that is the work that Roger's doing, that Rachel's doing, that programs like this are having a positive impact. So I know that looking at the decision in isolation is one thing. Just understand also that I'm not getting the same calls that I used to around complaints about people being unhoused in our community and living out of their cars at the library and other places. So with all that said, we will watch it. We'll go ahead and make modifications to it if we need to. And I appreciate the conversation on this evening. So thank you both. And then social media. So there was another post this evening. We are working through code enforcement action. I think I've mentioned to you that we've had, unfortunately, a few code enforcement actions involving different downtown facilities in the last few months or so. And just understand that what you are reading on social media is not the entire story. If you have any questions about any of that, I ask that you just reach out to me and to the administrator, Knight, and we can get some answers to you. I have been copied on many email responses where people have put in a question and then added something in one font and then added something in another font with another going back and forth. There's a lot of information that's gone back and forth. And if you see something on social media, that's an excerpt of a much longer email chain. But if you do have any questions, please ask. At the end of the day, you're the policymaking body. If for some reason you don't like the outcome you're looking at and you want to discuss the policy, you have the option to discuss the policy. And it's just like if I disagreed with a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit and I were an officer and had to enforce a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, at the end of the day, it's a policymaking body that has the ability to make those choices. Is it 35, is it 25, or is it 45? And as the executive arm, it's my job to enforce the laws that you have. So if you see something that you're concerned about, please reach out to me. Please reach out to Deborah, and we'll get you the information. And if you want to have a conversation about things related to policy, we can have a conversation about it. With that said, we're treating people with equally based on how we enforce our laws. Unfortunately, there are times where people are not happy with how the laws are being enforced. And in today's world, it's not just going down and talking to your friends at a local pub or a restaurant or talking to your neighbors, but it's also on social media. We've been working hard with people to try to make them aware of what the laws are and help them through processes, just like we do with our law enforcement officials. Most people, when we talk with them and talk about the concerns we have about the status of somebody's property, they'll take steps to make adjustments and bring their property into compliance. And sometimes you have people that don't. And just like with any other type of law enforcement or code enforcement action, you then get into warnings and notices and fines and things like that. So again, if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and to Deborah. I think that's probably all I have to report this evening. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right, we have on the agenda an executive session. It's going to last us until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm just kidding. We've had to pull it off the agenda this evening, so I'm letting you know that we have no need for an executive session. There is no further business this evening that's needed unless there's objection. We are adjourned. We're adjourned. See you all next week. Take care, everybody.